Welcome to Empowering Plans, a show dedicated to identifying waste and undue expense in the health benefits industry, discovering ways to maximize benefits while minimizing costs, and empowering employers, administrators, and consultants to emphasize, once again, the benefit in benefit plan. Today's episode is brought to you by the FIA Group, empowering plans since 1999. Now here are your hosts, the FIA Group's own CEO, Adam Russo, and Senior Vice President and General Counsel, Ron Peck.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another FIA Group podcast, Empowering Plans. My name is Adam Russo, and I am your co-host. Alongside with me is Ron Peck. Say hello, Ron.
Hello, Ron.
And Ron, I know that you just want to jump right into this. I know you're excited about this topic. We've been waiting for this podcast to occur. There's so much going on in D.C. There's so much going on with Trump, President Trump, and so much going on just with Congress in general as it relates to everything we do on a daily basis. So I won't talk anymore. Let me know what your thoughts are.
Absolutely. You know, healthcare is not unique in that people rely on DC to make decisions for them. And I can't stand it anymore. If you sit there and you wait for the government to tell you what you can do, what you can't do, if you wait for the government to tell you this is how we're going to control the cost of care, it's not going to happen. You've mentioned in the past, Adam, that if you are expecting somebody to come down and say, hey, hospitals, you need to cap your rates. Hey, drug makers, you need to cap your fees. It's never going to happen because of the special interests. So the only one who has any kind of real incentive to do something about the cost of care is the one who's paying for it. So if you're sitting on your hands waiting for DC to make the decision, it's not going to happen. Today, this is a wake-up call, a call to action for the employers who are ultimately footing the bill, the ones who are funding the plan.
All right, Ron's about to jump on me and, I think, hurt me. I'm a little nervous here. At the end of the day, that is a unique attribute of self-funding, is that you have the power to be empowered. You can make a change. Instead of just complaining about it at the kitchen table or over drinks at dinner, you can actually say, you know what? I'm not going to wait for some politician to do this for me. I'm going to do this myself. So what we want to talk about today is how you can empower your plan and the type of things that you can do, because it's very, very important. But here's the key. It's not just talking to your HR department. That's probably the last person or people that you want to talk to. You need to start this at the C-suite level. You need to get the CFOs on board. That's number one. Here's the reality. Healthcare is expensive. Health insurance is expensive. Paying claims is expensive. The people that understand expenses are the CFO and anyone in the accounting department, any financial person you have. For years and years and years, they've always believed that healthcare costs are either a fixed expense or an expense that just goes up every year by 10, 15, 20%, whatever your broker happens to bring to you every year upon your renewal. That is the entity. Those are the people that you need to change. You need to make them understand and realize and open their eyes to see, wait a second, you're telling me my healthcare expenses can actually go down or stay flat? Yes. So that is the level at which we're talking about. We need to get all these CFOs, all these financial people to understand that there is something you could do about health insurance. There is something you could do about your healthcare expenses. And it's not just taking away benefits from your employees. That's the last thing you want to do. You want to either keep the benefits where they're at or offer more benefits, better incentives, better wellness programs, better health opportunities to the employees, but at the same time, reduce your expenses by 20, 25%.
The risk we run when we assume that health benefits is an HR issue is conflict, contradiction, and mistake. What will happen is HR, as is their responsibility, is going to focus on keeping people happy. And if that means throwing money at a problem, or if that means hiring a broker, an advisor, a TPA, and then just giving them the keys to the castle, set it and forget it, eventually the bill is going to come due. And it's only then that the CFO is going to realize there's a problem. By getting the CFO, the CEO, the C-suite level people at the table to discuss, what are we trying to do with our health plan? Are we just trying to meet the requirements of the law, or are we trying to recruit talent? Do we want to be more generous than is required by law, or do we want to find shortcuts around it? Do we just implement one of these high deductible plans and, the first few $1,000s, that's the employee's problem? Or do we want to establish a plan that's robust, generous, and actually a recruitment tool? After you decide what you want your plan to actually do, then you need to decide what options are out there to actually accomplish those goals. Only after you've established what you're trying to do and identified the tools you'd like to use, do you then bring HR in to implement. Furthermore, you must make sure, not once, not twice, but every year, that your employee handbook matches your benefit plan.
I can tell you, Ron, that we here at the FIA Group, we use our employee benefit plan, our health plan, as a recruitment tool. It's one of the biggest benefits that we offer, and that's what we focus on when we bring in new people, or we have people here, our current employees, making them understand the importance and the benefits that we're offering and how much better they are than what's out there in the marketplace, and also how much cheaper it is here than outside somewhere else. Now, the key thing you brought up was implement. The HR department is responsible for implementing the employee benefit plan and the design. But not only that, their vital role is to educate the employees so that the employees not just have it in a book, in a handbook or an SPD, or summary plan description, but actually know this stuff so that they're actually understanding what their benefits are and what they can do to keep the cost of healthcare lower. And the key focus of that is by incentivizing them in the first place. Now, you brought up the handbook. I did a presentation yesterday to a group of employers. About, I would say, 75 employers were actually there. And the funny thing is, when I asked them to raise their hands, how many of them actually know what their handbook says versus what their plan document says? Nobody raised their hand. Nobody actually understood if there were any differences between them, if there were any gaps. The fact of the matter is the people that actually design the handbook are typically different than the people that design the employee benefit plan. It's two separate groups of people that are designing both contracts. Yet your employees are following both agreements. They believe that these terms apply to me and also these terms apply to me. But the reality is they contradict. Let's be honest. Our plan document and our handbook, once we did a gap analysis a couple years ago, it also had gaps. So the first thing that we would advise people to do is take a look at your handbook, take a look at your plan document. Once you ensure that your plan document is compliant, once you ensure that you've put innovative procedures and measures in there to try to reduce the cost of care, once you've done that, great, but don't stop there. Then go revisit that handbook to see if there's anything in there that's inconsistent or missing or needs to be added. What we have found, based on all the reviews that we have done over the years, is that 80% of the handbooks that we have reviewed have gaps in them between the handbook and the actual plan document. 80%. Forget the 30% of plan docs that we get that aren't even compliant. But that's a massive percentage of documents that we look at. And I guess it's because people are doing the right thing. They're trying to innovate. They're trying to be compliant. But they're forgetting the fact that that handbook that they haven't updated since 1996 needs to be looked at again.
Sure. So my handbook tells people, oh yeah, if you're on a leave of absence, we'll extend health benefits indefinitely. But meanwhile, I have a broker, an advisor, a TPA who's updating my plan document. And according to the recent law, they extend coverage for up to 30 days. Well, if somebody's on a leave of absence for 60 days, the handbook says they have health benefits. But the plan document says that the coverage termed a month ago. That's a problem. And it all begins, like you said, first, you have to get everybody to sit down, the C-suite level, and decide what are we trying to do with our handbook, what are we trying to do with our plan document. Ensure both are compliant, ensure both are innovative, make sure they match, then provide those tools to HR. Tell HR it's time to educate, it's time to inform, it's time to make sure our employees understand. And there's lots of ways of doing this. Adam, I don't know if you want to share. I mean, it gets to the point where it's almost obnoxious sometimes, but you are probably the number one promoter of our health benefits to the staff. Emails, conversations, meetings. Tell them a little bit about what you've been doing with the staff.
Right. Before I get into that, we've been spending so many years talking about the gaps between a plan document and a stop-loss policy. Now we want to make sure we add to that level the gap between the handbook, the stop-loss policy, and the plan doc itself. But you're right, Ron. Once you have all this in place, once you make sure all the documents are up to date, fine, perfect, okay. But now your employees actually have to know about it. So the problem is we see thousands of employers across the country put all this great language in their plan design, yet the employees, their behavior doesn't change. they still do the same thing they've always been doing. They don't realize that they can get a check or get paid or have a reward for finding cheaper alternatives for their care. That is the key. So what can you do? Well, what we have done here at FIA is we have quarterly meetings with our staff where HR actually tells the staff about any changes to our policies. Every employee knows about their raises. Every employee knows when their review is. Every employee knows how many years they've been in the office, how long before they get, some 10-year anniversary plaque. But the reality is most employees have no idea that if they went to a freestanding MRI facility, there's no copay, but if they get one at a hospital, it's $100. That is just as important for the bottom line of a company and the prosperity of a self-funded employee benefit plan than anything else. So the first thing is communicating with the staff via newsletters, communicating at any type of staff meetings, in addition, emails. But I think the most important thing, and Ron, I want you to get to the quizzes and stuff like that as well, but the most important way to make sure that you have a process and a service and a program that is effective is to have stories to tell. You need winners. You need individual employees who've gone through the process the right way and have benefited either financially or through their health. At the end of the day, you need people that you can showcase and spotlight to show other employees, see, look what that employee did and how it benefited them. They got free diapers and wipes by going to this particular hospital for their delivery of their baby. Those are the kinds of stories that you need in order to get this to resonate and for people to talk about this at the water cooler. Ron?
Absolutely. One of the trends in technology today and general learning is gamification, where whether you're talking about an app on your mobile device or email or group-based games, trying to make things fun but also learning. And one of the things that we've been working with is a Quizify program where you'll take questions about general health, nutrition, but then we also mix in questions about our health benefits to ensure people understand their benefits. What would the copay be if you blank, blank, blank? But then you take it one level further, like Adam said, and you actually provide these stories, these examples of success. And you know what? If somebody saves our plan $10,000 because they spotted a mistake on their EOB, that's the same as somebody donating $10,000 to the company.
That's the same as someone coming up with an idea that saves $10,000 for the company.
So we'll cut them a check, $2,500, one of those big old golf tournament checks, right in front of the staff, hand it over. You don't think other people are going to look at their EOBs? You don't think other people are going to take some ownership of their benefit plan? That's communication, but that's something that your TPA is not going to do. That's not something your broker is going to do. That's something the employer needs to do.
Think about this, right? When you have one of your employees have an innovative idea that's going to save the company $30,000, $50,000 over the course of a year, you promote that. You give them a promotion. You potentially give them a raise. You tell everyone about it. Why aren't you treating your health benefits in the same exact fashion? Why aren't you promoting that in any different way? There's no reason to. But the reality is, for so many years, so many of employers, we've all been brainwashed into thinking that there's nothing we could do about our employee benefit plan. It's just the way it is. It's DC. It's politics. It's the Democrats. It's the Republicans. It's the president. It's not. It really is up to all of us. As a self-funded employer and as being a member of this plan along with my wife and my 4 children, I can tell you that the number one thing you can do is to make sure that you push, advise, and promote your self-funded employee benefit plan. You promote your handbook that's in compliance with your plan, and you make sure that every single employee knows about the wins, knows what they can do to benefit the company, because at the end of the day, it's going to benefit the bottom line of the organization and offer prosperity and opportunities to those employees themselves.
And then we don't have to rely on anyone but ourselves.
That's right. So, Ron, I think today was great. It was fabulous. I want to thank you very much for this, for your passion, your insight on this. Folks out there, we have a webinar every month. Feel free to go to fiagroup.com to check out our webinars. Feel free to go on there, look at our previous podcasts, check out our newsletters, any information on our company. On behalf of Ron Peck and myself, thank you so much. And until next time, keep empowering your plan. Thank you.